Good evening, everybody. I think we are ready to call the meeting to order if everybody's ready for that. So I'm going to call this 5:02. We calling the August meeting of the Arts Commission to order. We're going to do roll call first. So I think we're going to do that on the terminals, right? All right. Oop. Okay. All right. So we have six present.
Is Jennifer here?
Jennifer, no, Commissioner Marakovitz was not able to make it. So
Oh, I see. Okay, she's not marked as in anymore.
yeah.
When
So
I
we have
looked over there, she was.
one absent. 6 of us are present, and let us stand, if you'd like, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So number 4 on our agenda is special presentations and proclamations. Looks as though we have none tonight. So we're going to move on to number 5, oral communications. And my understanding is we have 2 speakers. So we'd be happy to hear from you. He's going to call you up. Sorry.
Keely Nunez and Brenna Fleener.
Hello? Yeah. Yeah, feel free.
I'm essentially born and raised in Encinitas. Came back recently. I'm a former teacher and I dabbled in art in college. So I'm so happy to be here with you guys and hear more about what's happening with Pacific View, the project there.
And I'm Brenna Fleener, similarly a longtime local resident. I actually went to Pacific View. This is my second grade t-shirt that I took out.
That is awesome. Love that.
So also really excited to be here and chatting to you all about it.
So we've sent an email to Travis and Colette, and we're really here to just hear more about the progress and kind of up-to-date information about the plans for PacView. We want to have an understanding of how you're fully maximizing the potential of this space, especially given its prime location in the city. So we do have a few questions. I don't know how this works. Do we just ask you the questions? Is it a conversation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
We have a-
So
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
So.
almost finished.
Okay. Yeah, with this this part of the meeting, we don't really have a back and forth question and answer, unfortunately. But if you have questions you want to pose, I think we can in our comments or in our discussion later, we can do our best to discuss those.
So
if you want,
Just
there are
got a
issues you
few.
want to bring up.
point of order. This is not agendized, so there is no back and forth. There's only comments.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, so we'll just summarize kind of what was in the email. This is just in an effort to get the conversation started and build our own understanding. And hopefully we can chat through these at some point. But we'd love to just better understand the ongoing funding for Pacific View and how you all are thinking about supporting all of the wonderful arts programming that you're planning, like how you envision that kind of moving forward. The second piece is just any plans. We'd love to understand how you're planning to use the space outside of that interior arts center. Do you have plans for the yard, the external spaces? Is there room for other opportunities there? And then finally, do you have any current plans in place just for a wider diversity of programming that might kind of address a broader swath of the Encinitas community. We'd love to just better understand those three.
Yeah.
So thank you all. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And we will be receiving a report later on the status of the project. So, depending on what's in that may address some of your questions. So if you have time to stick around for that. And I'm sure that's available, right? It's part of it's online, the
Right.
report. So
All the progress is online, and then there are also a number of public meetings that basically lay out how Pacific View can be used and how it will be used. We'll also be bringing forward at some point an operational plan, but that's going to be later on this fall.
yeah, and those are all
Can I
great
ask
issues.
I have a question.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Since it is on our agenda, what is it, 8A? Could they sign up for a speaker's slip on that? Like at a regular city council meeting, it's an item on the agenda? Because open speak is for something that's not on the agenda. It gives the public an opportunity to speak about something that's not on the agenda.
Sure. So it
It's
is. a-
actually a regular item on our agenda.
So it's actually
you
a.
can come every month and speak about it if you want to.
Kathleen, I do want to just remind you that it is a report into the status of it. It's not a conversation about operations or funding or anything like that. It's basically where we're at with construction. Colette and I will meet with you, and we can bring you up to speed with where we're at and what we can do at that facility, because there are some restrictions on that facility.
And also within the links, within the public agenda, it'll take you back through the process from when council made their decisions and give you a little bit of the background so that you understand what's formed us to this point so far.
Okay, great. Thanks again. I do love that shirt. It's cool that you kept it all this time. All right. I think those are, I'm sorry. We have one more speaker to call up.
Jeff Ladman, and I'll be manually recording the 3-minute mark.
So I don't need to do the timer? Cool. Hi, my name's Jeff Ladman, and I'm representing two organizations, the Encinitas Educational Foundation, and we work in tandem with the Encinitas Union School District. I'll read you real quick our mission statement, and then I'm just excited, number one, that we found out about this committee or the council. We actually found out about it through Jennifer, and we've been contacting, I'm sad that she's not here, because we've been contacting with her a little bit in our emails, and we're just looking to work in concert with you for the betterment of our children, especially when it comes to music, which I don't need to tell you is sorely lacking in our school systems, and we are working very hard to rectify that as the best we can. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'm sure I'm talking too fast, but I'm worried about running out of time. The Encinitas Educational Foundation, EEF, was founded in 1985 as a qualified nonprofit 501c3 designated corporation. Our mission is to assist in the achievement of a superior public school education within the Encinitas Union School District. EF partners with our community to raise funds and resources for enrichment programs, projects, and people that create world-ready citizens at all 9 EUSD schools, including special education and Farm Lab. EEF supports student learning, growth, and education through enrichment programs during the day at each school site, with music after school, with our concert band and strings, and our honor choir programs. EEF programs provide superior instruction and an opportunity for self-expression, creativity, and a sense of achievement that will stay with each student for a lifetime. So it just seems a natural pairing for us to work as much as we can with your organization. What we've done over the last few years is started a choir program. Because of the nature of what we can do and not do during school hours, it is currently taught by a group of dedicated citizens who receive a small stipend, and they meet weekly at each school site for an hour and a half, and practice, and then we give concerts. We're going to be performing at the Heritage Tree Festival on December 1st. We're already partnering up with the Encinitas Historical Society, and we meet over at that amazing ground that you were just talking about. And we also have a concert band and string program that we are now charging students to participate in because of the level of instruction and the amount of student to instructor activity. But currently, we are self-funded for all our choir programs, and we're just looking to introduce ourselves, say hi. If you need some amazing choir kids for a concert, let us know, and maybe we can work together to do great things. I don't need to tell you the cognitive benefits of music education for students. I'm the father of triplet boys who all happen to be autistic, and music is a very, very important thing. The next best thing to silence is music. That's about all I have to say right now. I'll be silent, and it's really cool that you guys are here. Do good things.
Thank you, Mr. Ladman. I'm definitely aware of the work of the EEF, and we thank you for that. I guess to clarify, we are primarily an advisory board to the city, but it's great to have this connection, and there are some exciting music-related things that I think you'll be hearing more about tonight. So, yeah, it's great to have you touch base with us. Thank you for that.
Val, another great concerned parent on the council, but she's very shy. I'm going to out her anyway.
I like it. Okay, great, thank you. And so I think that's it for the speakers tonight. With that, we will move on to number 6, changes to the agenda. I don't know of any that we have. That's a no. So we will move on to number 7. That's approval of the minutes from our last meeting, June 5th, 2023. And hopefully everyone had a chance to check those out.
I move we approve the minutes for the previous meeting, June.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's all vote on that. Whoops, didn't do that right.
Sorry about that. Who was the second? Okay, thank you.
I don't have the, is that coming up on yours? Oh, there it is. All right. I think that is everybody. So the motion passes unanimously. Great. Okay, so with that, we will move on to number 8, action items. First one, number 8A, the Pacific View Arts Center mission and vision statements. We will be reviewing the draft statements and finalizing the vision statement and voting to recommend the finalized mission and vision statements to the City Council for their approval. There is, so we, back in June, had a presentation and worked out wording for a vision statement. And we have kind of 2 options that differ by 1 word. And we're going to be talking about that. I'd love to hear from anybody. I have my own idea of which one I prefer, but certainly eager to hear what everybody thinks. So. Right, so as you can see, the difference is substituting either artistic or creative passion in that phrase. It's kind of amazing all the discussion and permutations that went into boiling it down to these 2 sentences. So I think we accomplished a lot. But so I'm just going to say I prefer the second one, creative, partly because we, in the mission statement, use the word artistic. And also, I feel as though creative, I think they both work well, but creative, I think, is a slightly wider embrace. I feel as though this is a center that's going to be for everybody, and people who don't think of themselves as artists will obviously be welcome to explore their creativity. So that's just my thought on the preference there.
I have the same feelings. And in the mission statement, we use the word artistic, and I'd almost be partial to having both of them say creative because it is more expansive. And at the same time, the vision statement is for future, like what we are intending with the space. And so creative certainly fits there well. And because we will do the first iteration of kind of a soft opening when the doors are ready to open, it will probably be more focused on artistic because that's kind of what you can do right away without a lot of funding or materials. So that's my 2 cents.
Mhm. Thank you.
Well, there we go. As you know, I like these mission statements and vision statements. I do feel like that it's an art center, but given that that's in the mission, I don't believe it needs to be redundantly applied to the vision. I also believe that creative is something that's more inclusive, and it will allow people to kind of expand their own personal boundaries, even if they don't feel like they're an artist. So I'm fine with either solution, but creative probably is more appropriate if we use the word artistic in the other version.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add that I also think having creative is more inclusive and is going to be possibly less intimidating for people who, as was said, maybe don't think of themselves in terms of art. But I think creativity just covers so much more. So that would be what I would favor.
Just as far as it being a discussion, sorry to hop in, we are voting, I believe, on both mission and vision. So I'm just curious what the other commissioners feel as far as artistic in the mission statement. And do we have the mission statement available to put up?
In the box, right there, right here. This is
I
the
see it.
mission. Because consensus was reached for mission, there wasn't any further discussion immediately necessary. So that's mission, and then the 2 vision are down below, down here.
So if I remember correctly, when we were working through the mission statements, there was actually enough consensus to keep artistic. I remember, I don't know how that happened, because I do believe that creative just is much more larger and future-facing, like you were mentioning. So I don't know if we can change that, but as far as the vision statement goes, I agree with all the other commissioners and I actually actively like the second one way more than artistic. So
Right.
That's what I'm leaning.
I guess great minds are thinking alike, because I've much prefer the creative for exactly the same reasons, that it's more inclusive, and we do say artistic in the vision statement, or in the mission statement. So, and I like too that they're both very short and clear and concise.
I have one comment. I believe that it was opening windows, not we open windows. I think opening is a little bit more like an active word. So I don't know, when I envisioned this statement, I was thinking opening, not we open, but it's just more of a active tense. So I'd like to discuss that and see if anybody else agrees.
So the original version, is that how we left it, opening windows?
That's what I said.
Okay,
but
yeah. Yeah, I know you
There was a
were,
lot of going back and forth.
yeah.
I just want to make sure that we are aware that that was a slight change. And I think the parallel structure, when you look at empower, it starts off with a very strong word. I think removing any extra words was one of the goals. And so I think opening is just a more active and engaging word. So that's the reason I want to bring that up, because I didn't notice it when I first spoke.
Yeah, no, that's a
And
great
then
point.
If I may just interject a little grammar, it would be open rather than opening?
You mean if we drop the "we," wouldn't it?
So empower and open are the same tense?
No, but
Opening-
you're actively opening it. So the person has a kind of, they're not aware of these opportunities. So an open window is just an open window, but you're actually opening it.
Yeah.
I guess it's I guess it's a statement, not a sentence. And to me, the vision is to open windows to ignite. So we could leave it would seem clear to me to just start with open windows to ignite creative passion through engaging programming.
Did you say open windows? 'Cause
Open windows.
I think, yeah, if we're changing the phrasing, to me, saying open windows, it can be that open, initially you stumble over it because it reads as an adjective, open, an open window, not as a verb. So I kind of agree, I kind of feel as though it would need to be opening if we were going to make that change. Because otherwise, open windows, that's a phrase, just means, windows that are open. I think, you'd have to backtrack and to get a clear idea of what that's saying.
I would just like to remove the "we."
Yeah, okay.
I think opening windows, although there isn't, I see the parallel with the empower community. We're not saying empowering the community, but opening windows it is clearer as far as it being a verb used in a verb in that way, and it's shorter and it's a little bit more active and exciting than "we open," because that then lands it on we are doing something for others versus this is a community art center where everyone is doing it together.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really dislike "we open windows," but I understand those points, and I think I could get behind opening windows to ignite creative passion. Is that kind of the consensus, do you think we're looking at? Does anybody have objections
It
to?
isn't really, it is, I think as Colette pointed out, it is a little awkward having it not a sentence as a vision.
Not have a
So that-
subject at the start of the
Right.
sentence, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I understand, I also agree that opening is better, but I think maybe it could be reconstructed to have opening as the first word and still have a sentence.
Does
You
it
know,
not make
something
sense
like,
that way?
pardon me?
Does it not make a sentence if it's opening
Yeah, I think
windows? It's got
it doesn't have a subject.
passion.
I mean, you could
Yeah, I
add
mean-
something at the end, opening windows, and then, the city of Encinitas, something, that would give you the subject, so.
I think we spent like a long time just coming up with this phrasing. So I don't, adding a phrase would, but I do understand how we want to change that, the "we open." I do remember that the mission statement was actively verb-driven, so empower, actually. It was action-based, and from what I remember from the consultant, vision statements were not, vision statements were, just exactly that, statements, as opposed to something that is action-based, like the mission statement, which is actually doing something. But I'm confused now, and like if we have to go back and change the actual phrasing of the statement, I would not.
So
wanna go
point of
there.
order, I don't think we should go there.
Right.
We did an awful lot of work, and there was community engagement on this, and the community saw what we did. I think you really need to hone in on simple changes and make a motion. So if anybody has a motion,
When
do
I
have-
look, excuse
Sorry,
me.
go ahead.
When you look back through the process, there was a lot of statements that started with verb: empower, empowering, learning, creating, cultivate. So I don't think it would be a big change if we wanted to put a vote a motion forward to change it simply to opening windows to Ignite, or leave it
Well,
as it is and vote on it.
what I think is contradictory is it's a vision. So this is the future. So we open is a present tense. So you're competing with the time and date of it. So essentially by saying opening, so we're going to continue to, they're going to be opening windows, but we're not like, that's my point about the change too. There was something that really bothered me about we open.
I don't like the we. I don't care which of the other two we choose.
Just get rid
Open
of the
or
we
opening,
for sure.
Just get rid of the we.
So we're really deciding here between, we've gotten past using artistic, we want to use creative, we're just deciding between we open windows and opening windows. So, and it sounds as though the consensus is opening windows. So I'll make a motion to approve the phrasing, opening windows to ignite creative passion through engaging programming. Put that out there.
Point of order. So we do need to make a motion that includes both the mission and the vision statement, because we have not approved the mission statement yet.
Okay. All right, so just to rephrase that motion, I'd like to make a motion to approve the wording of the mission statement as is, which is empower the community to cultivate artistic expression. And then also approve a vision statement reading opening windows to ignite creative passion through engaging programming. So if that's.
I would second that motion.
And just a quick point of order, you are approving a recommendation to council for their approval.
Okay, right, thank you. Do we need to put that on the record?
No.
Okay. We don't want them to feel bypassed, so, just so they know. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, great, so we can go ahead and vote on that. Okay, great. So it looks as though the recommendation to council has passed unanimously on those two matters of phrasing. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for bringing that up. As I recall, you provided kind of the breakthrough with the windows.
Yeah.
It really ties into the place, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will move on to item 8B, the annual work plan. We'll discuss and provide updates on the work plan for FY 2024 and assign commissioner staff ad hoc meetings this week. Some of that already. So go through this and we don't have meetings and finish time on items that we've already filled out the box for. So, yeah, the CPC is taken care of. Number 2, research planning opportunities. We have 2 people right now that wants to join that, but I think we're okay on that for now. I actually, I don't know what the record shows. I thought that I was part of that, that ad hoc as well. So,
There is still room for a third.
okay. I've had preliminary discussions about a possible funding source, so it might make sense for, I'll just add myself to that.
Can I just make a point for number 1? Something new is happening on our work plan, just in the intended outcomes. The outcomes are actually being listed now as they're achieved by city staff, and then I think if anyone doesn't agree with them, it should be noted as either through with the content or simply how it's written. Is that right? So I don't believe it's something we need to vote on, but every new outcome, each time something new happens, it will be recorded here. We can discuss it and then approve it, and then it will just live there on the document. So this document will get longer and longer as the year goes on. That's just something new as opposed to city staff kind of writing up all of the outcomes at the very end of the year and then us approving them all at once at the end. It's just a quick change. So with number one, with the commissioner leaves served on the panel for 23, 24, and attended city council meeting, et cetera, I think that is fine. I just wanted to note that since we skipped over it.
Thank you for bringing that up. And just to clarify, this document does not have all outcomes in it. This is a shift that we're making. So at your September meeting, it should have the general, so high-level outcomes, rather. It's not going to be at the granular level.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Much appreciated. Any questions about that, or I think we can? Okay, great. So number 4, assist city staff is all of us. Same for number 5, assist with the promotion of city arts and culture events. Let's see. Number 6, support the public art policy. We do have some openings here if anybody's interested. For city-funded sculpture, El Portal, and then possibilities for private sculpture projects. But if anybody's interested in El Portal, we can add you to that.
I thought El Portal was done, except for the approval and installation.
Yeah, El Portal, you've completed your portion for El Portal.
We did. Okay.
It's currently in fabrication.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Sorry.
So we all get invited to the opening ceremonies.
You will definitely be aware when that happens. Yes.
Thank you. I think it was confusing that with something else. So, okay, great. Number 7, assist with art night, Encinitas. That's everybody's volunteering. We have 3 of us already for planning, 3 of us for serving on the visual arts selection panel for art exhibitions, and 3 of us already for supporting existing city performing arts programs. Pacific View is all of us involved. Advise on branding. That, I believe, is completed, right? You were? Nope.
Branding
Okay.
shifted.
Okay.
In that there had been direction given from city manager about just following the city's brand style guide. There could be some opportunities to do some things, to work on some projects as it relates to different elements, but what branding was thought of initially is going to be different. So if you think about what the community center looks like and the signage, and there isn't a logo for it. It all follows the city's branding.
Okay. So things will potentially still crop up that will
There
need
may be some
advising.
things to
Okay.
crop up.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Will there be no word mark to go with the branding? Because I mean, I'm a logo designer, so I have a lot of experience with this. And I mean, see, she's got the seagull with the sun and the ocean, and it makes such a visual impact. Where branding guidelines are going to tell you to use the font Montserrat and what color it's in. But I think that it doesn't need to, the branding can't pair itself to a logo mark.
We have received specific direction that there is not going to be one.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I am inviting a speaker. I don't know which meeting she'll be available for, but potentially, if it's approved, someone who does research on a very broad and deep level. She's not for branding specifically, but for research and understanding how organizations are perceived by the community, how you're reaching people, all of these sorts of things. So I think that with all of these, we're kind of running through them real quick tonight because we haven't really started, in a sense, on the work plan. We can all reach out to each other once they're there and start actually working on them. So there's still, I think, a lot of input and creative avenues for that sort of thing, and while maintaining a nice, relationship with our limitations.
Great. Okay, thank you. So I think we're at number 12, which we did complete, the color palette. Number 13, review and advise on programming model. That we've talked about a lot. That's going to be an ongoing discussion, I think. I mean, as we get closer to the opening and things get more specific. So, moving on to number 14, research the feasibility of future artist residency programs at Pacific View.
There's one update on that. We haven't met yet, but we will. During the programming meeting for Pacific View that I sat in on online, it was noted by the city that any artist in residency program is welcome, and the artists will not be able to work on any private enterprise during that time. So if they use that space, it can be used for prep for the community or prep for teaching or whatever it is, but it can't be used for like a traditional visual artist in residency where they're coming up with their own body of work. So that's just, again, one of those specifics to a city-run art center that then leaves a lot of creative open possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of residencies where artists within different genres, whether it's music, visual art, performing arts, and they come in and their residency really is connected to the programming and what they're doing connected to education. So while it might feel different than, say, the residency that used to be at Lux, it's got a lot of latitude, and there are some good grant opportunities out there once we
For sure. I think
get
in
there.
some ways even more exciting to put a program together in that capacity. And just
Exactly.
clarifying, since this is the only time we can all speak.
Okay, thank you for that update. So we are on number 15, support existing city arts education programs and direct potential arts instructors to city RFPs for arts program instruction. That is all of us. Is there, just a quick question, is there a deadline for responding to those RFPs? I don't remember what the
teaching artist one is ongoing, and it's currently called a contract instructor because it's for the recreation programs, and we are in the process of simplifying it so that it's a little bit easier, but it does require the RFP procedure. We're just going to try and simplify the document so that it's a little bit easier to fill out for a teaching artist. We will be looking at getting that out later this year. It's trying to find that fine line between having it be as simplified as possible and still meet the requirements.
Right. Okay. but that is ongoing for the foreseeable.
It will always be a rolling deadline.
Mhm.
There will be deadlines published that applications need to be received by a certain date to be considered for programming within a certain period.
Right.
So deadlines would be more connected to, like, if you wanted to teach a summer camp, the
Right.
deadline would be set such that we could accommodate reviewing and making those determinations. But if they didn't make it by that deadline, they could still submit one. It would just be for programming at a later date.
Okay. So we should keep putting the word out there. Okay, great. So number 16, these are the city council items, presenting the work plan outcomes, which we'll be doing in February. And same with the number 17, the proposed goals for next fiscal year. And that is the work plan. Does anybody, I didn't mean to skip over too fast. If anyone had any other items they wanted to discuss.
I was going to share an update about the performing arts for item number 9. The ad hoc has been meeting and proposing a potential youth piano competition coming up at the community center. As you know, we have a gorgeous Steinway D there, and we are actively having conversations with the North Coast Symphony and working through some possibilities, and hope to have a more definitive plan to share coming soon.
Great, thank you. Yeah, from just kind of observing what's been happening, there's a lot of energy around this, and it's really exciting to see this develop into an idea and a thing that could be very really be a great thing for young musicians and for the community. So, yeah.
And I'd like to add that it's unfortunate that Jennifer Markovitz is not here tonight, because she was really came up with this idea, and she's got a lot of knowledge in the area of piano performance, and we're really looking forward to hoping this will be a great program for the city.
Yeah, I agree. She's really gotten people energized about it. So, yeah, we'll look forward to hearing more about that. Thank you, Colette, for that.
And then I was
update.
just going to backtrack also to visual art to 7. Art Night, the next one coming up, is on September 9th, and we are currently accepting applications from youth bands who may be interested in performing. The application for that is on the city's website. You can search for it, or it's encinitasca.gov/Art Night, and you'll find the link for that. Related to Art Night, as I'm sure you know, that is the reception for all of our visual art exhibitions. And for 2024 exhibitions, the application inviting artists to apply for both 2D and 3D is currently out. We're hoping that artists will apply for that. The deadline is September 22nd. And the application for that is connected within there. Later this week, it's going to be a lot easier to find all of those kinds of things just by going to encinitasca.gov/arts. We're going to make the navigation of that main page just a lot easier to find things. So bear with us.
Great. You said youth bands, that will there be several slots for?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Different kinds of bands. This is we're mostly looking for.
Youth bands. We did, under Commissioner Schmidt last year, started doing the youth band showcase, and it was very popular. So we are taking applications from youth bands.
Great. Okay. All right. Thank you. And anything else I skipped over? Any other notes?
One
Go
other
ahead.
item within public art, I wanted to share that the addendum is going to be released tomorrow for the sculpture pads. We are going to extend the deadline to accept those proposal applications to September 14th. So it's all in the same place. It's on the city's website, encinitasca.gov/sculpture pads. So nothing has changed other than you have a little bit more time. So if you do know of an artist who has an existing public art sculpture and who might be interested, have them take a look at it. There is already one addendum on there regarding compensation, so make sure to read all of the addenda so that you get all of the information.
Okay.
Do we have any applications so far?
We do.
We do.
Yeah, we have a few. Because of the process, it's not something that can be opened and revealed until the deadline, so I can't share beyond, I know applications have come in.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, so you said September 14th. I think there was a video that actually Connor did for social media that was talking about August 11th. Is this the
That was
same?
the original deadline.
Okay.
And we just recently made that. So we're going to see what we can do to shift it. For sure, on that post, we can add that there is an addendum.
extension, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That's great to know. Thank you.
I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, no, I think I might have even reposted it. So yeah, it was well done.
Very cool. Well, yeah, so now share the deadline extension.
Perfect. Yeah, will do. Thank you. Okay, so any other work plan items or thoughts? I guess we're good with that. Thank you for all that input. So we are going to move on to the informational items. Oh, no, sorry. We're on 8C, which is the city's report on Pacific View Arts Center.
All right, so it is really starting to look like things are happening. As you know from prior reports, a lot of what's been going on within the construction has been things you can't really see, cabling and just all kinds of underneath infrastructure kinds of things. So now that the windows have started, the glass has actually started to go into the window frames, and it's really coming together. An update that I can share that's not in here because we found out after this was issued is that the dance floor is going to have a cushion in it that is equivalent to a Marley floor. So that's going to be nice that it is a danceable floor from the day we open, and we don't have to actually worry about bringing in rolls of Marley to lay out and find a place to store. Here are some photographs that show, here's where windows are starting to go in. The sign, Rosemary Kimball led the charge on having a sign announcing the coming of Pacific View. So now as people drive by, if they didn't already know, they will now know that we are going to have an art center on that site. Programming, we are continuing with the plans that had been made based on direction from City Council and the programming group that met and talked about possible programming and plans based on what is permissible by zoning and by room size, capacity. I skipped over the mission vision because we did that already. I'm going to skip over fundraising really quick and come down here. This is that list. This has been an attachment for quite some time that just talks about big buckets of kinds of things that can happen. There will be a survey going out into the community to gauge community interest based on these items that are zoned and permissible within the space. On page 2 of this document, general ideas. So things about hitting different groups, making sure it's inclusive, et cetera, et cetera. To the best of our ability, these are the kinds of things that have been decided that are part of that. It's going to come down to which instructors apply to teach classes. So reminding the public that it is a contract instructor model for the most part. So while we may list that these are things that it is zoned and permissible for, if there is not an available instructor or an interested instructor, we can't offer a program for which we have no instructor. So once that revised application is out, you're going to want to make sure and share that with those teaching artists who are interested in these kinds of things so that we can continue to have what the community would like for Pacific View to be. This is the same document that you've been seeing, except it's been updated with the most current floor plan. So the other one had some rooms on it that were from the original building, and those have come down. So this is more accurate. All of this text, this is all the same for how the rooms have been designated for their uses. So that's a document that you can take a peek at. And we will continue next month. I'll bring more updates, and I think it's going to start to look more and more like you'll see more of it because things are happening more on the outside.
Great. Looks like some great progress. Quick question about that. You were mentioning the dance floor. Is it like is that like a sprung floor or?
It's not a true sprung floor, but it does have it's a thin layer of cushion in it that still allows for it to remain ADA compliant with door thresholds, as well as that movable wall in between that takes it from either being one large room to two
Right.
small rooms. So there were a few different things. The most important one really is the ADA compliance and making sure that it's not a tripping hazard, that it meets with thresholds appropriately. And we're really fortunate that that was able to happen.
And as you say, it makes it a lot easier if you don't have to roll out pads for different uses.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's great. Okay. Thank you, Colette. Anybody, any questions or further thoughts about any of that? All right. Great. So we are going to move on now to the informational items. Number 9A, Cultural Arts Division report. I'll throw it back to you.
Well, I hope you all were able to attend. I know some of the commissioners were able to attend the Tremonto Music Festival last week and last weekend. It was, by all accounts, well-loved, well-attended, and really, really enjoyed. And we are looking at the feasibility of having it come back next year. The Moonlight Beach concerts are also happening. The third one of this season was on Sunday with Brawley. Biggest audience we've seen yet. People are out dancing. I love nothing more than seeing people out there dancing, especially the little kids. It's absolutely precious. Our fourth and last concert of this summer is in 2 weeks on August 20th, and it is with the Silent Comedy, who were originally local and really are looking forward to playing kind of hometown again, and it is good old rock and roll. I think most of the other things I've covered. We will get back to Wednesday's concerts. Last week was one of the few Wednesdays we did not have a concert. So next Wednesday it'll be back up, and the next break won't be until the break between Christmas and New Year's. So free concerts at noon on Wednesdays at the library. Diverse group of musicians show, donation-based, well-loved. Show up by 11:30 if you want to make sure you get a seat.
Great. Yeah, I had really bad timing in planning my vacation and missing the Tremonto Festival, but it's great to hear that it is off to such a good start. So, yeah. And the attendance sounds as though was healthy.
It was comparable, and we were pleased and looking forward to ways to reach new audiences and ensure that as many people would like to have that kind of exceptional classical music experience can.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we will move on to number 10, commission member initiated agenda items. I'm not aware of any tonight. Is that right? So, unless anybody put something in, no? Okay, and then future agenda items. If anybody has something they want to add, this is your opportunity. Don't hear any yays, so we will move on to number 12, commissioners' reports. If anybody has something I'd like to share, we could start down? I don't, Kathleen, you might have something from CTC or?
I attended the cultural tourism, both of them, July and August, and I forgot to bring my notes, so I can't tell you what's happening. I'm sorry. I know exactly where they're sitting, and that's not in my right folder. But needless to say, there's a lot going on, and you can always check the calendar, the Encinitas City Council calendar that's got everything on there that's happening. And
Yeah.
the lots of conversation too about the city is looking more into making the downtown. This is something we've talked about for many years, having the downtown become a cultural district. And that's gone back and forth, and there was a statewide initiative to do it, and we were applying for that, and that kind of fell apart. And so now we're just saying, we're just going to do it, figure out our own way to do it. I don't think we have a format to follow anymore, do we? It's my understanding there isn't a.
Well, there are designated California cultural districts. Encinitas was not chosen as one of the original 14. It's my understanding that with the funding that they received, that they will potentially be putting that opportunity out to have additional districts. I am not aware of a deadline or an active application out yet for the second round of those.
I don't. There isn't a format, but it's something that the people on the Cultural Tourism Committee are definitely interested in following through on.
Okay.
And all three of the Main Street associations are enthusiastic about that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, the calendar, by the way, you mentioned the calendar, and they do a really good job of that. It's very comprehensive, and so it's a good resource.
It's just beautiful, isn't it? I love It's just so cheerful and pretty. I just love opening it up. I feel like, oh my gosh, this looks like so much fun.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
And they're tying it all in together so that if the information comes to the Chamber of Commerce or through to the city or whatever the resource that gets the information, as long as it qualifies, it goes on the calendar. And then it's on everybody's calendar. You don't have to, it's not like sending something to a newspaper where you have to send it to all of the newspapers.
Right,
You just send it
right.
to one and it gets spread.
Yeah,
So it's very comprehensive.
yeah, absolutely. Any other commissioners' reports? I know we've been away for a couple of months, so there's been a little bit we've been kind of in limbo. We've been on hiatus, so there may not be as much to talk about, but feel free if you have anything to add.
Well, I can add that I attended the Tremonto performances 3 nights. I wasn't able to go to the reception. And it was very enjoyable. It was a little different programming than we've had in the past. But, I thought they did an excellent job, and it was enjoyed by many people.
Yeah, it's great to hear.
No, I just want to, again, with members of the public here, kind of reiterate that we're all like on the brink of beginning our work. So I do encourage everyone with all the different ad hocs to be reaching out to each other, and then we'll get some things rolling. I'm super excited about that. And what else? And also just as far as our role as advocates in the community, there's so many things that have been introduced tonight or that are ongoing that we can keep talking about and telling people about. And I'm Art Geek Encinitas Art Geek Encinitas on Instagram. So trying to post about things. Yeah, because there's so many people who have lived here a lifetime and don't know about so many of the amazing offerings. So,
Yes, I follow Art Geek Encinitas on Instagram. It's a great resource. Thank you for doing that. And it is a good reminder to me to make sure to keep putting the word out. And it's a great problem to have that sometimes it feels as though there's so much to talk about. You could be posting 5 times a day, but as I said before, I'm very excited for everybody to hear more about what is developing with this youth piano competition. I think it's really going to be something. So you'll be hearing more on that, but I believe so. Anybody else? Are we good? Okay. Well, it's great to see you all again, and thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'm going to call this 6:03. We will adjourn the meeting of the Commission for the Arts.